Bob Woodward's latest book on President Trump entitled Rage. Robert joins me now. Robert, what have you got?
Well, my colleague Phil Rucker and I for the Washington Post have read Bob Woodward's new book. It's called Rage, and it has an enormous amount of information based on more than a dozen interviews Bob Woodward conducted with President Trump from December 2019 through July of 2020. And if you read our article that just posted on WashingtonPost.com, we lead with a meeting in January of 2020 where Robert O'Brien, the National Security Advisor, and Matt Pottinger, the Deputy National Security Advisor, told President Trump in late January that the coronavirus threat was the biggest threat, the gravest threat that President Trump would ever face in his presidency. And then a few days later, in early February, President Trump speaks with Bob Woodward on the phone, on the record. And to be clear, the Washington Post, through Woodward, has acquired tapes of President Trump speaking about all this, these interviews with Woodward, and Woodward has decided to publish the tapes. And in this early February call, February 7th, the president says on the phone to Woodward that the virus is deadly. He repeats, it's deadly. He also says it's airborne, it's spread through the air. And so he acknowledges how deep and serious the threat of the coronavirus is in early February on tape, but it's not until weeks later, of course, as we all know, that the national shutdown of businesses really commences. And so you see through Woodward's reporting an awareness on President Trump's part of how serious this threat was. And he also says in another interview in March with Bob Woodward that he deliberately played down the threat of the virus. He said he wanted to avoid a panic, but he said he deliberately played it down. And the rest of the book, Andrea, I could go on. It's a long book, very detailed, based on interviews about inside the North Korea situation, the so-called love letters between Kim Jong-un and President Trump. Woodward has copies of what Kim Jong-un has sent to President Trump. There's also a lot of detail in the book about former Director of National Intelligence Dan Coats,